reason I got hired was because I managed to just take these little, and you know, give everything has to have emotion and context and blah blah blah. But I would also just sit there and giggle half the time. I'm going, you paying me for this? Those aren't even words. I do a lot of that. I get like all the Frank Welkery stuff. It's like, you know, we've got this little creature that just squeaks. It's like, done, mine. It's all pays the same money. Why do you do the Barbie movies? Because they pay mine. They do. If you ever want to hear a really beautiful Essex accent, just because I'm a sucker for it. Pardon me, young lady, do you have a question?
Yes, I do actually. How do you feel? I went on the spree looking for you and Brian Drummond's work. He did like poker, and you've done stuff like the wasabi bit. How do you guys feel about doing stuff where you're either not saying anything, but you get credited for it, or you just go like the entire time? Like, do you enjoy this? Like you say, it pays money, but do you enjoy getting to do stuff like that? So much.
Such a fake accent. I'm sorry. I just wanted to hear you talk. Yeah, I love that stuff. I mean, you know, it's you go like, really? I get paid for this? Like, I get paid for this? This is crazy. And it's also, you know, you go like, how weird do you have to be able to do that? You know, I'm going to take a spicy Japanese condiment and give him life. It's way more fun than talking. Believe me, you know, Hohenheim was not a bundle of life. World's worst deadbeat dad. And you were there, and you, wow. It was like my Groundhog Day moment. Hi, I'm Scott, welcome to my panel. Anyone from out of town? Yay! It's a do-over. That's the bread and butter of the fun of this genre, of just being able to be that weird. You know, at the same time, in the same show, you may be playing, you know, some huge interpan-dimensional space demon. You know, I've done, and it's kind of fun. It freaks me out. I was poking around the interwebs the other day because somebody had referenced something in an email to me. So I looked up a character that I did in League of Legends, which was Hecarim. You know, which is about his full-body, deep demonic crazy, and that led me to another one from Warhammer. You know, and that's where I trip, and I go, really, that's the same guy that did. That's why I got into voices. When I found out people could do that, I'm like, really, that was the same person? I get the same, you know, kind of kooky thrill out of that you guys do. I will sit there and watch the cast of The Simpsons on behind the actors studio and just go like, you know, I don't care that everybody I know does a perfect Homer Simpson. When you hear it come out of Dan Castellano's mouth, it's like, oh my God, it's Homer Simpson. He was just talking normal, then suddenly he was like, you know, so I get it. Who has been at your head on his whole party? I miss him. Yes, because you look very serious and earnest.
Okay, you played Bad Town Animations on Twitter with Superdog. How was that whole entire experience for you?
I'm sorry, I missed the first part.
You played Bad Town Animations on Crypto the Superdog. How was that whole entire experience?
I loved working on Crypto the Superdog. It was as close as I'll ever come to playing Batman. The dark paw of justice. Ace, the Bat Hound. As tightly wound as you could possibly be. And then I was Ignatius, Lex Luthor's little iguana. Let's get some crispy critters. And plus, I remember I guess I was in Texas and we went to Six Flags. And walking down the Midway, there's like these 6-foot-tall Ace the Bat Hounds. Wow. And how many people in life get to walk around going, it's like when I had a lot of action figures out back in the day. I could go into like a Target or a Walmart and be like, need it, got it, am it. My nephew would be like, do the voice. I'm like, no. I did once, and some guys were like, yeah, that was pretty good. I do a lot of those voices for my kids too. I think I'm better. That was Beast Wars stuff. I'm like, he goes, yeah, that was a pretty good rap track. Heard better. No. It's gonna make them feel. stupid now.
That's fun.
Happens across this video. Yes.
Would you ever play Captain Harlock again?
In a heartbeat. Would I ever play any role again? Yeah.
Yes.
Bucket of money. Will I work again? Hell yeah.
What about Cobra?
Pardon me?
What about Cobra?
Covert Commander?
Yes.
Yeah, I would. I mean, it would speak again afterwards. That was a real honor to play that. You know, step into Chris Lauda's shoes. It's like, jeez. It's also the one voice I've ever done that hurt.
Not bad.
He's sick. I can't even do it now. Yes, I'll just do Dynamite and pitch it up 7 octaves. There you go. Oh, see, this is always helpful. When you have this, it's good. When you have 4 friends around you going, it helps. I'm assuming you were doing that. Yes.
Alright.
Okay.
How do you feel
How would I
about
feel?
Canadian bacon versus American bacon?
You know what we call Canadian bacon in Canada?
Ham.
Ham. Where do you go for good Chinese food in China? Oh, we have some food. Nobody quite gets the Canadian bacon. Ham. In spite of the fact that I gave up eating pork 8 years ago, God, how I miss your sweet, succulent, rich piggy goodness. Oh, I'm gonna be okay. I love bacon. I would sit down and fry up a pound of bacon, can of mayonnaise.
Yep.
White bread, straight up Canadian delicacy, mayonnaise,
Oh,
pound
yeah.
of bacon sandwich.
Oh, yeah.
It's just sick.
It's so good.
All right, yes, with the danger sign.
So whenever you get casted into a role, do you usually settle into that role quickly, or does it take you time to get comfortable before you can start acting it?
That's actually a really good question. Sometimes you've really figured it out and you've really nailed it in the process of creating a character for the audition. You know, and frankly, I've been doing this a long time, so generally I go in pretty ready. But a lot of times, you know, you were working with, I mean, Beast Wars is a good example of how stuff evolved a bit. Because Larry and Bob, the writers on that, were so, pardon me, phenomenal. And the animators were there, and everybody was kind of inputting at the beginning, and we were really trying to figure out the characters. So, you know, like Waspinator was originally kind of a badass, and they met me and they went, he's much more of a goof than that. You know, so that, if you watch the very first episode of The Simpsons, or the first season of The Simpsons, they don't even sound the same.
Horrible.
It's not horrible, they just don't sound the same.
Yep.
You know, Dan Custer started off doing a Walter Matthau impression, because, you know, it was little 2-minute bits they did on the Tracy Ullman show. So stuff always does evolve. But, you know, again, it's one of those sort of yes and no answers. Sometimes you just hit the floor running, sometimes you get a chance to start, and you go, wait a minute. You know, wait a minute, this character is actually much more like this. Because sometimes, you know, which is one of the reasons I don't watch anything I've ever done, because I go like, oh God, why didn't I play it differently when I had the chance? So, on a good show, they will allow you to do that and let characters grow. Because, I mean, you can't always tell in the first episode. Sometimes you think, hi. You have a blue monkey thing in your hand and a flower on his head. Hi.
The other question is that's okay.
Hi. I'm calling my therapist in my mind.
Alright. I'm writing a comic book and
Yes, I will. But I'm expensive as hell.
Well,
I took a chance.
well, you kind of did. So thank you for the answer. Anyways.
All right, sure. I haven't played many women in my career,
And I
but
want to know if I ever get it famous, if you can be one of my voice characters.
oh God, that it were that easy. You know, in the real world, it was like, okay, oh, I go, hey, I know that show. Seriously, I know we talked about this back in 2012 down in Tampa. And look at this, it's real now. Except now Warner Brothers is involved, and so-and-so's involved, and you know, Stan Lee's involved, and this is involved, and now we've got 1,900 people. And in spite of the fact that the creator says, I wrote this role specifically for him, it'll be like, well, you know what, we found a better Scott McNeil. Oh, it happens. So, but would I, in a heartbeat, yes.
Really?
I would be honored.
Because I'm writing one right now, and I'm one of my main characters, and I'm ready to have my characters short here.
I'd be very honored to play all of the characters. We get paid by the characters.
Right?
Yes, young lady in red. Eye contact, eye contact, eye contact. Dirty sweatshirts!
Which ones would you change and how would you change them?
You know what, there aren't a lot I would. I'm actually very tickled to be doing Kyrate now. Just because, you know, when we were doing DBZ, it was, and to be perfectly honest, a lot of times in Vancouver, because it's, you know, the size of the market it is, anime is kind of the redheaded stepchild of doing real cartoon work. What? You know, you kind of fit it in, and it's like, what's the, you know, I don't know, we never know, you know, it's like I don't see the whole scripts, we just, you know, try to make stuff fit the flaps, and then of course of coming to conventions, I started to go, ooh. You know, I learned more about the characters from you guys than I ever did from, you know, what I'm supposed to have as knowledge going in. So stepping into Piccolo again now is really quite cool, because I'm going, it's not that I would change anything, but it's just like, I think we can make this a lot better. And we're taking it a little more, you know, I realize what's involved in it, despite the fact that it's not a Namekian.
Something that you would say right now.
I would, you know, the only thing I've ever seen that I would have changed that dramatically, and again, this references back to Beast Wars.
Can you hold that for a minute?
Dinobot 2, or Transmetal 2 Dinobot, when he came back. I watched a little bit of it a while ago, and I would have made him way more psychopath. Because you'd see the way they animated him. It was like, oh my lord, like he's a fiend. Yep. You know, whereas essentially I didn't change the character up too much because I wasn't sure what was going on. You know, we never do. We get the scripts and it's like, what's the overall story arc of this? Like, I didn't know Dinobot was going to die. Dinobot knew Dinobot was going to die. I didn't. You know, what's your first clue? To me. Oh, not to me. You know, when you start doing Hamlet soliloquies, you know there's something bad that's going down. I'm just saying. So I would change that up. I mean, there's always stuff I want to improve. Believe me, I'm the worst for like, excuse me. Yeah. You know what? If I don't get to do line 73 again, I swear I should kill myself now. I should kill myself and I would end my life right here in the studio. It's like, all right, Scott, it was fine. I'm like, no. You know, we can always make it better. And some, you know, on shows where they're allowing us to be a little more creative, those are the ones that I like working on. Honestly, sometimes they just crank their stuff out. I'm like, you don't get it, do you?
So you were talking about when you go into starting an anime, you don't usually know a whole lot about the characters. Can I tell an embarrassing story about you?
All right, it'll save me the bother of doing it later.
Go on up there. The very first con I met you at, which was Otaku Con in Miami, my friend asked you to do the Piccolo's canon, and you did the voice perfectly with the Kamehameha hand.
You know, people come up and they go like, oh my god, you were doing Maxwell, and I'll just rip off, you know, say, God death, I will be, this is such a lame way. The only reason I know those lines is because the first con I did, I went, and people are going like, say a line from it. It's like, I do thousands of these things, I don't know what the... Somebody wrote me a list. Somebody wrote me a list of quotes from characters, so that, you know, when I'm signing stuff, I always like to do a quote and make it personal. Yeah, that was kind of embarrassing. My first day working on Gundam Wing, I'm like, walk in there, it's like, see the screen, I'm like, I thought I was cast as a dude.
That is a dude, Scott.
No, that's a chick.
No, that's a dude, man.
No, that's a dude. That's a chick. Well, he sure is pretty. Then I found out. Yeah, wait. Your cat is staring at me. All right. Yes.
I'd like to know, are you familiar with the show called Drawn Together?
We're all together? Oh, Drawn Together? No, I'm not.
Oh, really?
I don't actually watch TV, so.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
How do you survive up there?
When we are not busy hunting the seal and the whale for their blubber to steal on. in a day to keep the moose fed for the winter. They will draw our sleds across the great northern tundras. Soon we will have this technology you call television. But until that day, we survive on our skills and our ways to live off the land.
And frankly, I play a lot of World of Warcraft. Or Minecraft! Jesus, curse you, Minecraft! Like, in 2.5 months, I go from like, what the hell is that? It looks like it was designed in 1983. Oh, it's like, ooh, it's building blocks. Ooh, look, I'm digging a hole in the ground. You should see my empire.
It's like us for adults, man.
My world, I've done it all. I'm like Ender Dragon, done, Withered, done. Boom. Hey, man, you want some cooked steak on demand? Flaming cows of death. Hey, how about some pork chops? Railroads everywhere, spawners, traps. For my inner engineering nerd has gone berserk. Redstone is my life. God, I hate that game. 2 minutes. The voices in my head tell me 2 minutes. So what we're going to do, and make everybody crazy, is we're going to do a thing called, I like to call the lightning round, which is really fast questions, really fast answers, and I'm going to try to get everybody starting there. Go. Too late. Next. Pardon me? I've never played an embarrassing role. I played women, I played, you know, I mean, well, okay. Embarrassing? No, I've never been embarrassed by a role. Yes?
As a professional friend, can you say something really, like, off the top of your head, really funny in Owenheim's voice? Keep saying it.
Owenheim would never tell a joke.
Owenheim, he keeps complaining about it, so.
A man walks into a bar. Ouch.
Yes. Nips. Yes. Me, sir. No, there's several, honestly. I mean, Living and Dead. Living, Maurice LaMarche, the guy that voices the brain from Pinky and the Brain. All part of my plan to take over the world. Another Canadian. There's guys, we're all plus, and I got Steve Bloom, brilliant man to work with. The all-time greats, Mel Blanc. Obviously, my career was fashioned after him. Paul Frees. I mean, I could go on. The list is ridiculous. Yes. Why would you even ask me that?
Hey, diddle diddle, Captain the Fiddle. For the horn!
Except, let's be honest, everybody played a Worgen. Okay,
Yeah.
Okay, so speaking of kilts, you played McLeod?
I did play McLeod. I had a great, huge epic sword fight with Duncan. I was Robert McLeod. I was his cousin. And we had a huge fight.
Awesome.
Live steel fight, by the way. Live steel fight. I learned my half of the fight with my stunt coordinator. Adrian Paul, who played Duncan, learned his half with his stunt coordinator. No time to rehearse, no time to block, cameras rolling, and action. My first thing is a head swing right at him. I'm going, if I behead the star of the show, and I'm a McLeod, you might be able to find it on the internet. It was a great fight, and it was a lot of fun, but yeah, I did. Yes?
Can I get you to please
Yes.
your UV the holler back girls?
I don't even know what that means.
Hey!
It's probably best that I don't know.
Yes!
Flam?
What's your favorite episode of Anecdotes?
I don't know, the good one. The one where I finally got Kagome and... Oh, wait.
Do you realize that pork chops are not made out of cow?
Well, no, so this is what I was showing off, was I have both kinds of meat on tap.
Oh, okay.
I have flying dead beef from above and screaming pork chop from above. And those little piggies are so cute when they burst into flames.
Can you sign my balls?
Again? I'm glad you at least washed them since last time.
And ask.
Things having to say it upon. Yes, I will sign your balls later. As soon as we're done this panel, we're going to take it out here because we're going to need the next room. Yes? When did I get my first cowboy hat? It actually started almost at a convention. I got it in Dallas, Texas. Not the first one I ever wore, but the first one that became like the hat, 1.0, which is the generation before this one. I bought it as this beautiful white shiny Stetson in Dallas, Texas. And then it kind of took on, then it became like a thing. It took on, it was like Steve Bennett's hat. It was like, you know, oh my God, Scott McNeil's hat. And so it ended up, had legendary status for a while back in the day. And then it eventually sort of disintegrated. So this is 2.0, and he's starting to get a little nasty now, but, and which I also got in the same store in Dallas, Texas. I saw a hand. Did it?
Oh my God.
I can talk to you outside. Last one right here. Make it a good one. Everybody stare at him. Pardon me? Future projects, right now, God, oh jeez, I'm just doing a bunch of video game work right now, doing Dungeons and Dragons, more League of Legends, auditioning. Just did an episode of Psych, which I think is going to be a lot of fun when it airs. It's going to be a great episode. I got to work with some comedy legends on that, so I'm pretty stoked myself. Johnny Test is still in the Go Dragon Ball Kai. Innumerable auditions pending and waiting. I'm doing a project. Actually, I have to fly home early on Sunday because I'm doing a feature film, which is apparently quite a big deal, but I still don't know much about it because in this rarest of all occasions, I was actually cast without them seeing me. So I got a call on the plane coming down going, "You coming back on Monday, man, guess what?" I'm like, oh, geez. I can do the usual yada yada, lots of stuff I can't talk about, lots of stuff that I can, but busy and I love you all. Thank you so much.